guided reading process happens over 3 days. So on the first day we preview the little reader, on the second day we view the little reader, and on the third day we review. And each of those days has a focus, and we work through each little group. Each group has an opportunity to come to the carpet and engage with the teacher in that lesson. So when we preview the first day, we actually don't read any text at all. We are looking through the book. We take a reading walk through the book. We're looking at pictures. We're asking questions about what are we seeing in the pictures. We are accessing background knowledge. So this week's book was about a spider in different rooms in a house. We're talking about what kinds of rooms we are seeing. We're talking about vocabulary in those rooms. So we're front-loading vocabulary and we're accessing background knowledge. The teacher's doing a lot of listening and a lot of just asking questions and listening to the responses and providing and stretching and enriching the language that comes out of that discussion. On the second day, we then read the book, we view the book. And that's the first time then that we engage with the text, and we then are using the language that has been front-loaded the previous day. So in the little reader that we've read this week, you'll see that the words like bathroom and bedroom and kitchen all come up. But now we're looking at the text and we are helping the children to understand that each little word that I see on the page has meaning, and that we encourage the children in that by getting them to point to each word as they're reading it. We look at what sounds do I hear at the beginning of this word. So we are looking at aspects of phonics. We're looking at aspects of spelling, where we look at how many syllables there are in the word bathroom. We are looking at conventions of print. So we're looking at bold font, and we're looking at exclamation marks, and we're looking at illustrative text, and all of those, we use all of those words with the children so that they are able to understand what they mean and they're able to use those words themselves. So we really are just engaging quite deeply in the text, and the children read the text. We also, once we've read that little book, we then reread the book, because fluency is critical in the reading process, because fluency aids our comprehension of what we are reading. And so we're making sure that all the time we're making connections for the children between what they have seen in the pictures, what they have seen in the text, and what they are saying as they are reading it. The fluency is a critical aspect of comprehension, and so we make sure on that viewing session that we reread the book, and that the teacher sets the pace for that reading, and that the teacher uses very normalized language for very young readers like our children are at the moment. Their reading can be quite stilted because they really are focusing at the moment on looking at each word, and when we reread the book in that viewing process, we use quite normal kind of language where we talk about using a talking voice, and that's critical for fluency, which aids comprehension. In the reviewing process, the children are now aware of the story. They've read the story two or three times. They know what the story is about, and now we also dig a little bit deeper into the story that we've just read, and we're wanting to make connections for the children between what they've read and how that relates to real life. So we don't read books in isolation. Books have meaning for us, and we read them for enjoyment, and the reviewing process aids that. But the reviewing process also looks at phonics, and it looks at whole words. And so you would have seen today that the children wrote W on their whiteboard, and we asked, even though the word in the book was web, we asked them for a whole range of words that start with W. So we're looking at initial sounds in phonics, and we happen to actually do work in handwriting this morning, and so the connections that we make between other aspects of the English learning area to what we are doing in our reader. They also wrote individual words. They wrote look and in, and so that is practice for them. Those are words that they'll come across in their own text writing, and hopefully over time and with practice those words will become familiar to them and they'll be able to write them from memory, having experienced them in their reader. We'll also ensure that tomorrow on the 4th day, when we do our text writing, that our text writing is linked to the reader that we've read this week. So the 4 building blocks for reading are an understanding of phonemic awareness, understanding that what I say can be broken down into little speech sounds, that cat is made up of k and a and t. The second building block is the alphabetic principle, understanding that that k is represented by a letter that looks like a C, that the a is represented by the letter A, and so on. The third pillar is fluency, so being able to read fluently and fairly effortlessly, because that then aids my comprehension of the text, and comprehension is the critical, that's why we read, is to comprehend what we're reading. It's creating meaning from the text. And so our guided reading process does all of that over the course of the 3 days, where we do the preview and the view and the review. The guiding reading process assimilates all of those over the course of the 3 days.